what are we going to do with all these Gentiles who are coming into the church? That's not really a question that we ask today, but it was a pressing concern in the days of the early church, because you had some in the early church who were saying, oh, these Gentiles, they have to follow the law of Moses if they're going to be part of this community of God who confesses Jesus is the Messiah. The males in particular need to be circumcised. Well, they convened the Jerusalem Council, and you can read about that in Acts chapter 15. And at that council, Peter stands up and says, well, listen, guys, God's been using me to bring the gospel to the Gentiles, and he poured out his Holy Spirit upon these Gentiles. And James, having heard all of this, stands up and he quotes from Amos chapter 9, one of the chapters that we read today if you're reading through the Bible along with me. And Amos prophesies this very thing. He talks about how the fallen booth of David is going to be raised up, repaired, restored, a reference to the dynasty of David. And that happens in the coming of the Son of David. And Jesus, the Son of David, coming in fulfillment of 2 Samuel chapter 7, that promise to David. So the fallen booth of David has risen up. It's come in Jesus, the Messiah. And then Amos goes on to say how the Gentiles who are called by God's name are going to seek him. That's precisely what is happening in the ministry of Peter, in the ministry of Paul and Barnabas. Gentiles are being added to the people of God by confessing that Jesus is in fact the Messiah. And for that, we can be thankful, because most of us are Gentiles, and we too are part of God's people because we confess that Jesus is in fact the promised Messiah, the Son of David.